Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is on Vannes Airport, the museum at Morbihan Aéro Musée, which is located in Brittany, France. This base and airfield were created during the First World War. The Americans moved there between 1917 and 1918 and then left. It went to the French Air Force and Civil. In 1940, August 1940, 39 Heinkel 111s of KGR 100 were based, and their first attack was Birmingham on the 13th of 8th, 1940, then Cardiff. After the Heinkel 111s came JG-26 from 1940, and then JG-51 from the 10th of 41 to 42 with Junkers 88s. And on the 11th of 42 to October 43, Focke-Wulf 190s at JG2 were based there. Also based during the time were Junkers 188s and JU-52s. After the airport was liberated by the Allies on the 10th of 8th, 1944, once repaired, it was opened on 18th of August 1944 to the 1st of September 1944 and used by the US Air Force with the 425th Night Fighter Squadron moved in with their Black Widow P-61s. After the US Air Force left, it became a French base, and there was A-24 Banshees based there, 24 of them. And then it moved over to being a civil flying club base, parachutists, airliners, which we used to do fly to Britain and all over the place before just becoming a leisure airport. This is a glider SG-38 Stuttgarter from Germany, a prime trainer glider from the late 30s. Was mostly widely used as a training sailplane pre-Second World War. The German gliding movement in the later 30s, especially when organising like the Hitler Youth flying groups, used to fly a lot of these gliders. They were cheap to build, easy to repair. A glider training was a glider ratio of 10 to 1, 10 meters for every 1 meter at altitude lost, very modest for the standard at the time. A maximum speed of 100 kilometers an hour, and everything was open. Another glider is the Kudra C800, range registration Fox Charlie Alpha Hotel Fox, other word known as Sparrowhawk. It was a French two-seat glider developed shortly after the Second World War. First flight was in 1947, an all-wooden construction. The French glider clubs needed to start after the Second World War, and this was a great help with this glider. It served for many years, and still quite a few preserved in France, and some are flown on vintage glider days. Is the Flying Flea. It's got a registration of 27 MO, and more than 200 of these were built, and believe it or not, 10 are still airworthy. There was thousands of planes sold across Europe in the 1930s. It was exhibited in 1934 at the 14th Paris Air Show. as the Flying 3 was named by journalists and the name stuck. Next aircraft is the Morbihan Corsair 129 Fox Bravo Bravo Sierra Kilo was the registration. It was designed in the late 30s, flew in France before the Second World War. Some survived the Second World War and were built after the Second World War. There are a few examples flying today. This one was preserved there of the 110 versions what were built of this Corsair. It is the Pit Special Fox Papa Yankee X-Ray Alpha. It was designed in the States, built as a planned aircraft or a kit, constructed by amateur builders over the years. From the early 60s, over 500 had been made. It dominated the aerobatic scene in the 60s and 70s. Paige and me say please like and subscribe. It means a lot for this small little channel. Have a good. This is the Sikorsky S58/834. This one has a registration of SKY705 and was made for the French Army or Navy. They purchased 135 of them and could carry between 12 and 16 soldiers. They were made in France during the 50s by Sud Aviation in kit form. The USA made a total of 2,200. 50 are still airworthy. They were made in the UK as the Westland Wessex, but that had a turbo engine in it, where this was a piston, had a top speed of 120 knots and a range of 300 miles. This is the Dassault Etihad 4M. First flew in 1958, entered service in 1962 and came out of service in 2000. This is number 14. It was a strike attack variant for the French carrier fleet. A total of 90 of these aircraft were produced, 60 of them being the strike attack version and 21 being a photo reconnaissance version. This is the Folger Magister number 143. It was a revolutionary jet that bridged the prop trainers to the supersonic fighters of the Cold War era. Designed in the 50s, the Folger is initially as a jet pod replacement for piston trainers. First flew in 1952 with the V-tail distinctive or butterfly tail. Became recognisable all over the world. It had a high-speed engine, two turbojets, which made it go to 445 miles an hour and had a range of 650 miles. It was exported to over 20 countries: Germany, Finland, Israel, Morocco, Congo. Many air forces used them, and today there was 929 Folger Magisters actually built, and there are still many flying today. And last year I saw some at Cholet Air Show with our aerobatic team of 4 French. This is the Lockheed T-33 T-Bird 53091. There was 6,557 of these aircraft built between 1948 and 1950. Canada was licensed and built 656, and Japan built 210. There are still 50 of these aircraft still airworthy in the world today. This one was based in Morocco and then at Tours Air Force Base during the 60s, and then moved to the museum. This is a McDonnell Douglas Phantom F4 with a serial registration number of 640922. It was used with the US Air Force up until 1986, when it was struck off charge and used as battle damage repair at Sembach in Germany. Then it moved to France. This being the only F4 Phantom in France is very unusual. Designed in the 50s, making its first flight in May 27, 1958, was designed as a US Navy Fleet Defense Interceptor. It had multi-roles over the years and served with 12 countries, including the USA, UK, Germany, Japan, South Korea, Greece, Turkey, Iraq, Israel, Spain, Egypt, and they are still being flown by Turkey. Over 5,000 of these were produced, including licensed versions. It had a top speed of Mach 0.23 and had a ceiling height of over 60,000 feet, an incredible payload and an incredible speed. Nice aeroplane. Next aircraft is the Nord Atlas transport aircraft 2501F. It was an iconic post-war aircraft made by France and Germany. It was designed and developed in the late 40s. First flight was the 10th of July 1949. It was made to replace the Second World War era transports like the C-47 Skytrain Dakota. It had a crew of 5 and a payload of 7,000 kilograms, a maximum speed of 300 mile an hour and a range of 810 mile an hour. There is still one airworthy in France, and it's doing the air show circuit. There were 425 of these produced from 1949 till 1963. They remained operational well into the 80s and replaced by the Transall C-130, which is next. This is the C-160 Transall. This registration R202 arrived at the museum on the 1st of 6, 2022. The last C-160 withdrawn from the French Air Force was May the 20th, 22. It was a workhorse for the Europeans from the 50s and 60s. Germany and France were the main users of it. Its first flight was on the February 25th, 1963, and has a capacity of 16 tons of cargo, pallets or vehicles, has a range of 1,150 miles and a top speed of 317 mile an hour. There was 222 aircraft produced both in Germany and in France between 1963 and 72. They were gradually phased out and replaced by the A400 Atlantis transporter. It's a rugged, versatile airlifter and served many years in France. Last of all, there is a hangar devoted to the space flight, with various models and equipment from space missions on display. Also, they are restoring one of the hangars which was used by the Luftwaffe during the Second World War. Is now started. A very interesting museum, and enjoyed having a visit round. That's it for this week. Take care. Hope you tune in soon. Many thanks. Bye.